One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
Is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, everybody. Oops, I forgot to put my ears in. If I don't put my ears in, you get a big echo. So let me go ahead and just fix that real quick. All right, so I just want to let you know what's going on. A whole lot of stuff going on. I've got a bunch of news for you, and most importantly, at 8:30, you are going to want to not miss the Rumble jump over. It's going to be insane. I've got a doctor, and I can't really tell you all this stuff because right now we're only on YouTube. But when we jump over, we're going to tell you about some of the stuff that the Biden administration was trying to do to this guy because of what he was a whistleblower at. Basically, it's doing the funky stuff to kids, if you know what I mean. And it's going to be, your jaws are going to drop. I would almost say that this might be the first night of movie night. Because before I bring the doctor on, I've got a documentary that you guys are going to want to see. So at 8:30, definitely make the jump. I can't show it here on YouTube. You're not going to want to miss this. And tell your friends, 8:30, get over on Rumble. All right, so that being said, let's talk about what's going on right now. Especially what happened at the G7.
Okay, thank you very much. We all know the great Prime Minister of the UK, and we just signed a document. This is, sorry about that. This is it.
A very important document.
Little windy out here. Give me that. We just signed it, and it's done. And so we have our trade agreement with the European Union, and it's a fair deal for both. Going to produce a lot of jobs, a lot of income, and we have many other ones coming. But you see the level of enthusiasm is very good. But the relationship that we have is fantastic. So I just want to congratulate you.
Well, Donald, thank you very much. This now implements on car tariffs and aerospace, our really important agreement. And so this is a very good day for both of our countries, a real sign of strength. So thank you again, Donald. A really important day for both of us.
Great people, great people. Not much.
No,
Not much.
this is implementing.
You suddenly was calling for the escalation of Israel and Iran, but you are the key to unlocking that.
That's right. And here I am.
And here you are.
Yeah.
So can I ask yourself, have you spoken about the Prime Minister, or might you speak to
I've spoken to everybody.
What will you say?
Israel is doing very well, as you probably noticed, and I gave Iran 60 days, and they said no, and the 61st you saw what happened, day 61. So I'm in constant touch, and as I've been saying, I think a deal will be signed, or something will happen, but a deal will be signed. And I think Iran is foolish not to sign one.
Iran is accusing Netanyahu of attacking them to deliberately derail your nuclear plan. What do you say to that?
No, look, Iran should have signed the deal.
If it would help bring Iran to the negotiating table, would you guarantee that the U.S. would not get involved militarily?
Well, I think Iran basically is at the negotiating table. They want to make a deal. And as soon as I leave here, we're going to be doing something. But I have to leave here. I have, this commitment. I have a lot of commitments. I have a commitment to a lot of countries, including the UK, where we just signed our deal.
Mr. President, where are you settling on steel terms? We're going to zero, or are they thinking?
We're gonna let you have that information in a little while. They're starting already.
Mr. President, do you agree with the European push to apply more sanctions on Russia? Do the US support that?
Well, Europe is saying that, but they haven't done it yet. Let's see them do it first.
You said earlier that you could sanction Russia. Why wait? Why wait to sanction?
Because I'm waiting to see whether or not a deal is signed.
Can you guarantee the UK would be?
And don't forget, sanctions cost us a lot of money. When I sanction a country, that costs the U.S. a lot of money, a tremendous amount of money. It's not just let's sign a document. You're talking about billions and billions of dollars. Sanctions are not that easy. It's not just a one-way street.
Mr. President, on AUKUS, there's a submarine agreement. Is that still proceeding, even if it's sort of reviewed?
Yeah, we're proceeding with that. It's a really important deal to both of us. I think the President is doing a review. We did a review when we came into government, so that makes good sense to me. But it's a really important...
We're very long-time partners and allies and friends, and we've become friends in a short period of time. He's slightly more liberal than I am, to put it mildly.
we stand slightly on the left.
But for some reason we get along.
We make it work.
On Russia, there was quite a few British voters who worried the side with the Russian over-Ukraine war. Can you reassure them?
No, I don't. No, I just, what I said on saving lives. I only care about saving lives. We have nothing to do with it except that Biden stupidly let us get into that mess and gave him $350 billion. $350 billion. And yet, despite that, you saw how we did in the Middle East. We took in $5.1 trillion. We have $15 trillion almost, looking around that number, going to be invested in the U.S. So the money is not the thing in this case. It's 5,000 young people are being killed every week in Russia, Ukraine. And if I can stop that, I'll be very happy. They're Ukrainian and they're Russian. So you could say, what am I doing? But I'd like to see if I could stop it.
Would you consider going...
Do you think that Israel can fully eliminate the threat that Iran poses this nuclear weapon without the United States?
Who said that?
No, I'm asking if you believe they can.
Well, it doesn't. It's irrelevant. Something's going to happen.
Have you
Mr. President, would
considered
you consider traveling to the Mideast as part of any talks if it would help broker in the U.S.?
Yeah, but I think we're doing pretty well. We're talking. We have a thing called a telephone, so we're talking. But it's always better to talk in person. I want to see no nuclear weapon in Iran, and we're well on our way to making sure that happens.
And we've had a discussion about that this morning. There's in the G7 absolute clarity in relation to the nuclear program. We do not want to see it.
Mr. President, do you have a response?
What? The UK is very well protected. You know why? because I like them. That's why. That's their ultimate protection. Thank you very much. The Prime Minister's done a great job. I want to just tell that to the people of the United Kingdom. He's done a very, very good job. You know, he's done what other people, they've been talking about this deal for 6 years, right?
6 years.
And he's done what they haven't been able to do. So he's done really a very good job.
In response to Tucker Carlson criticizing you, saying that you're complicit.
I don't know what Tucker Carlson is saying. Let him go get a television network and say it so that people listen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Japan?
A lot of them. Good happen.
Japanese, sir.
Well, I have to say that Tucker Carlson is probably the least of things that is on the mind of President Trump right now. Probably this much he cares what Tucker Carlson is saying because there's so much going on. So I want to catch you up on a few really pressing things. This came out at 6:30 p.m. tonight, so about an hour ago. President Trump dropped this, no pun intended, bombshell. And he says, Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame and waste of human life. Simply stated, in big letters, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I've said it over and over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Oh. Oh, so the President of the United States is there, get out. Now, maybe that may not have sunk in. That might not have been something that everybody took heed and said, what are we going to do about this? The President of the United States is saying, get out. Well, this got posted at 7:29 p.m. In addition to me finding it, SV found it, and this is really ominous. All right, so this got posted. Let me bring it up. Boom. President Trump, Caroline Levitt, President Trump had a great day at the G7, even signing a major trade deal with the United Kingdom and Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Much was accomplished, but because of what's going on in the Middle East, President Trump will be leaving tonight after dinner with heads of state. So he's getting out and coming back here. That's a little, get out of Tehran, however you want to say it. And now he's also saying, I'm out of here. I got to head back to the White House. Maybe this has something to do with it as well. George Bahezi, he posted this at about 7:17. Dozens of American warplanes are on their way to the Middle East. And this may end up being the final solution for the mullahs over there in Iran. We may be seeing an end of the regime. People have been asking for context to make sure it's true. Grok says reports confirm that U.S. military buildup in the Middle East, including aircraft carriers with dozens of warplanes and refueling craft as of June 16th. This is 22 minutes ago. The claim of dozens of warplanes aligns with this, likely tied to tensions involving Israel and Iran. However, exact numbers are unclear due to operational security, and some reports emphasize support aircraft over fighters. While the claim seems plausible, specific remains unverified, so take it with caution. All right, so the United States is moving additional military equipment into the zone over there. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're putting boots on the ground, but it does appear at this point as though the United States is about to, in some way, shape, or fashion, enter this war theater. Maybe they, at this point, have sniffed out that the Ayatollah has left town and there is no leadership, and this would be the time to strike Iran and take them down. This could get kind of squirrely for them. I don't think it's going to get too squirrely for us, because if they've got no leadership, I don't know how much of a fight that they can put up. But it could get very, very ugly. This was Benjamin Netanyahu speaking earlier.
It's Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York. I understand America first. I don't understand America dead. That's what these people want. They chant death to America. So we're doing something that is in the service of mankind, of humanity, and it's a battle of good against evil. America should and does stand with the good. That's what President Trump is doing, and I deeply appreciate his support.
John Carl joins me now. So, John, what else did he say about President Trump and how he wants the U.S. to play a role here, or did he?
Well, look, he praised President Trump over and over again in this interview. He knows that he needs the United States' support, at least in terms of doing what the U.S. is doing now, which is helping Israel defend itself from those retaliatory attacks from Iran. So it was all couched in a thank you, President Trump. You've been Israel's best friend. But he made it clear that he would like to see more. He didn't come out and directly say it in those ways, but what you heard, what you played right there, I understand America first. I don't understand America dead. He is really speaking to those in the Trump movement, those in the MAGA movement, who are adamantly opposed to the United States getting involved in another Middle East conflict. And as you know, Kira, there are some prominent voices, supporters, outside advisors of Donald Trump who are saying, don't get involved. The United States can't be involved. You campaigned against forever wars. People like Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk. Those are, close supporters of Donald Trump who are saying that they don't think the United States should be involved in this. And Netanyahu, it seemed to me, by using their language, I understand America first, I don't understand America dead, was speaking directly to Donald Trump and to his supporters who are critical of what Israel is doing.
All right, so we've got influencers and YouTubers out there saying don't put American lives at risk. What if he's not putting American lives at risk? What if this is the final solution of Iran? What if this is the knockout punch and you just come back? No boots on the ground, nobody in danger. It's just ending the Iranian regime. Is that still problematic? Notice what they said. They've been talking about forever wars, like what happened in Afghanistan. This doesn't seem like it's going to be a forever war. It seems like they're looking to hit the knockout punch really quick here. End it right away. Get out of Tehran. Get out. It's coming. That wasn't enough. President Trump also posted these two things. And take it as you want. Somebody please explain to kooky Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That was at 7:18 p.m., as you can see. I take all this with a grain of salt. I really like Tucker. I don't think Tucker has turned on President Trump, as people would say. I think he has a specific ideology that he likes. I think his idea, I'm not going to go like Mark Levin and call him a cutter puppet. I just think he doesn't want war, which I think a lot of us don't want war either. But if you have the opportunity to finish Iran, to finally take them down, why wouldn't we take that? If it's a matter of some planes going in, going boom, and then out, I don't know. Why would we have a problem with that? Why would Tucker or anybody have a problem with that? He further went on to say this. This was afterwards. He said, America first means many great things, including the fact, again, he repeats it, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Make America great again. So he repeated the same thing a couple times. They cannot have it. And so right now, what may be going on in the back is some talks and intelligence that says this is it. You can take them out. Meanwhile, Tucker Carlson said this earlier on Steve Bannon's show.
We love Trump. think he's a deeply humane, kind person. And I am saying this because I'm really afraid that my country's going to be further weakened by this. I think we're going to see the end of American empire, obviously. Other nations would like to see that, and this is a perfect way to scuttle the USS America on the shoals of Iran. But it's also going to end, I believe, Trump's presidency and effectively end it. And so that's why I'm saying this.
What do you mean by that? That's coming from you. That's
you get. Look, I knew Bush. I knew George W. Bush. We had, family connections to Bush. I knew Bush personally. I still see Bush sometimes, and of course, he hates me, and he does because I criticized him on Iraq, and that war is the sum total, from a historical perspective, of his administration. But I knew him, and he had all kinds of plans for the things that he wanted to do. But once domestically, right, to improve the country. Right. And you may agree or disagree, but in his mind, he wasn't just about the invasion of Iraq in March of 2000.
No. He was going to redo Social Security. He had all types of. He was going to take care of the entitlements issue.
And he really thought it was going to work.
Yep.
And you could laugh at that or whatever, but the point is, the second you get enmeshed in a real war, not a fake, let's go bomb the villagers and declare success, though we don't even have a good track record. Why are the Houthis still there? There's a whole other question, right, which is how prepared is the U.S. military for a real conflict? And the answer is totally unprepared. Scary unprepared. I don't think people understand that. But anyway, the only reason I'm saying any of this is because I really, really care.
I'm reading the comments here, and it seems like some people are absolutely not. People are saying, yes, we got to. We have to take care of things. People are questioning Tucker. Why didn't Tucker say anything about bombing the Houthis? Angel, you can hate Israel all you want, but they are God's people. What else we have here? Why don't you... Hold on. I'm looking here. You can hate... I'm just looking at some stuff. Why don't you effing idiots understand that Iraq have weapons of mass destruction? No reason to get heated like that and tell people we're effing idiots. That's a sure way to have SV show you the door. We like to have conversations here. Your conversation and your comment is, appreciated. But if you start calling people effing idiots, nobody wants to hear that. Let's talk about this. Let's see what people have to say without trying to make people think that your opinion is more important. It's crazy. We should start calling you Lindsay. Oh, you mean Tucker? I don't know. This is something that a lot of people say. I don't agree with Tucker. This is an evil spiritual fight. He needs to trust in God, who is going to free the Iranian people. Trumpernator says, I'm heated about this. Okay. There is shaking going around the world, and in our government, God is exposing everything 1 minute at a time. Dick and Bolts, great handle. He's right. Americans don't have the stomach to support what needs to happen abroad and domestically. Okay, I hear it. Bro, that was not directed to anyone in this chat. Okay, but people can take that, Angel. They can take it as, people are effing idiots. Just understand, sometimes the text doesn't come across the same. Remarks like that turns ears. I'm glad you're paying attention. We all need to know. God bless you. Thank you guys so much. I am with President Trump. He knows what he's doing and what's best for our country. I love Israel, but I don't trust Netanyahu. All right, so let's ask a very direct question at this point. If President Trump has intelligence that says basically that Iran is living on a thread, living on the edge right now, and you can actually knock them out, would you support going in and knocking them out? Just a quick drive-by per se, boom, and leave. Would you support that? Let me know. Majority of the Iranian people want to get rid of the current regime. Exactly. There's a lot of innocent people in harm's way over there. Leslie says, I personally feel like they're always starting something. Indeed. I trust Trump. I trust Trump. There's a lot of that. Let's see. They are a threat to the entire Middle East. They cannot be trusted. I believe you. This is the same story we got from Bibi before Iraq and Afghanistan. But you guys aren't answering my question. My question is, if, and I know, Angel, you feel very strongly, I see, Iran doesn't have it. If you can knock the Iranian regime out of power with a very surgical strike and just end it, is that not viable? Would you not want to see that? Not a single boot on the ground, not even one. Nobody within even harm's way. If they don't have any ability to get their planes off the ground because Israel has destroyed them all, if there's no way that an American can really be in any danger, of course, anything could happen. A plane could go down, put in something in that regard. But if we can do a surgical strike and get in, drop it. Drop the bombs on them and get out. Are you supportive of that? Yes, no, F no. Okay. Do it. Put up a poll question. All right, I'll put up a poll question, and that way people can do that. Barry, this won't go as planned. Since I don't know what the plan is, I can't really even comment on that. I don't think any of us knows what the plan is at this point. It's definitely concerning. Definitely concerning. Yes, but wouldn't that get Russia involved? Russia already said they're not doing anything. Russia said, nope, not going to do it. So if Russia has already said, and if you can trust Putin to say that he's not going to get involved, and I don't know what China's going to do, I don't know. But what I will say is, say a prayer for the innocent Iranian people. Say a prayer for the innocent Israeli people. Say a prayer for our servicemen and women who are going to be over there in that theater. We're going to know soon enough, probably by the time we're off, something will probably have happened. More than likely, nothing until President Trump gets back on U.S. soil. It's a hop, skip, and jump from Canada to United States, but I doubt they're going to do anything with President Trump overseas. So late tonight, I don't know how long it's going to be before he gets in. Let me see if they've posted his itinerary in the time. Hold on. Let me see if I can find that. Usually once they know, they post it. All right, so let me see what the timing of this is. Doesn't say. They have not posted what the timing of it. So there's no way to know what time he's taken off. All right, so I can't get that. No post on his time. But I doubt something's going to happen until he gets back. We protect Israel. Yes, if they don't get replaced by more of the same. It's the retaliation of the other countries like, Russia or China. Gotcha. I keep hearing China is going down. Larry says there are over 1 million Christians in Iran. Wow, I did not know that. Did not know that at all. Yeah, so the Amen, God's got this. It's a damn shame Persia was conquered by them. Well, we know death cult. Slippery slope. Wow, I'm liking the fact that everyone is talking about this without everybody, going postal on each other. Barry, would you like your racist neighbor to kick your door and attack you on the pretext that they think you was going to attack them? All right, so I'll answer that. If I knew that the people next door kept telling me, I hate you, and if people next door said death to you and your family, and they kept saying death to you and your family, yeah, I'm pretty much going to take them out. Yeah, I'm sorry. If you're making threats, death to the family, I wouldn't get in your car. Yeah, something. Yeah, that would definitely happen. SV says Israel has activated its naval base. Barak Magan air defense system for the first time, intercepting 8 Iranian drones launched towards its territory. Whew. Yeah, this could get crazy. That could get crazy. All right, so we will keep an eye on everything. But that's the story as we know it right now. President Trump is due to get back on a plane, get the heck out of Canada. He's got his deal done, and we'll see what ends up happening. Netanyahu, craziness. One thing I can tell you, though, is if you get in a pinch, we're not really in a pinch, but if you're wondering what's about to happen and you need a hedge for your own financial safety, take a listen here. We're in a very volatile time right now. There's plenty of financial uncertainty. Now is not the time to be speculative. And I'm also speaking from a personal perspective. I'm buying income-producing real estate, and I'm buying gold and silver. A lot of people don't know the difference between the economy and the stock market. And too many people listen to the news and social media. That'll get you in trouble. Let's face it. It's obvious that a lot of people have an agenda they're not telling you about. Right now, your best bet is stability. And that means you might need to build a hedge against global volatility. May I recommend gold and silver to you? Real gold and real silver. Not paper, not certificates. Actual gold and silver. What gold and silver can give you is absolute peace of mind. A stock is only as good as the company behind it. It's merely a piece of paper. One of the things I can tell you is that many people are finding out the hard way that some of their investments were built on quicksand. Gold will never be worth zero. Silver will never be worth zero. If you want to calm some of your fears, give my friends at Lear Capital a call today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. Just so you know, Lear Capital has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $5 billion in trusted transactions. And Lear is the only gold company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So go to learberry.com. If you want peace of mind, give my friends at Lear Capital a call at 800-601-5430. Or look down here below and go to learberry.com. And don't forget to ask about getting up to $15,000 in free gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. Don't wait. Do it now. Nobody knows what tomorrow holds. Be safe. I just want to say thank you to the Fanfare community. And if you're new here, I'd like to take a moment and welcome you. If you watch my videos, you've probably realized at this point that this isn't your usual podcast. The difference is that every single day, I try to make this show an open conversation amongst friends. You see, I believe that speaking to friends, here and in your own circle offline, is the best way to push back against all the lies being told by the Democrats and the media. I encourage people in this community to welcome each other, and in doing so become a source of support for those seeking to unplug from the matrix. If you'd like to communicate on a deeper level, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, but if you'd really like to surround yourself with like-minded patriots, join our free and private X group by going to fanfareshop.org/group. When you join this free group, a few things will happen. One, if you haven't used X before, you can use X without venturing into the sewer that it sometimes can be. Two, you can share content with friends that you meet here. 3, you will get notified every time I go live, so you can't count on YouTube notifications. And 4, and this might be most important, you get content that I can't share on YouTube or Rumble. So please take a moment and join our free and private X group. Just go to fanfareshop.org/group. Remember, it's members only. There are 16,000 plus people in that group right now, getting close to 17,000. To join our free and private members only X group, just go to fanfareshop.org/group. We'll see you there.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so things are happening very quickly. Yeah, I'm getting ready to move into a different story, but things are happening very quickly. Ashley sent me this. She found breaking: Trump is now leaving the G7 summit early, will return directly to D.C. Okay, so upon returning, got information here, SV sent me, says breaking Trump orders the National Security Council to prepare in the Situation Room. I'll finish looking at that, but those of us who were discussing early, should we, what will happen, at this point, it's looking like it's happening. I mean, it's walking like a duck, squawking like a duck. It's a duck. The fact that he's leaving early and telling the National Security Council, meet me in the Situation Room, not sure what time he's getting back, but things are probably getting ready to pop off. Just want to let you know. It says President Trump has reportedly directed the National Security Council to remain on standby in the White House Situation Room and wants a full situation report immediately upon his return from the G7. The order underscores the gravity of this escalating Israel-Iran conflict that has forced Trump to cut short his international trip as the situation enters its fourth day with mounting casualties on both sides. With Israeli airstrikes decimating Iran's leadership structure and Tehran's retaliatory capabilities still active, the Situation Room directive signals potential immediate decision-making upon Trump's arrival in Washington. The source is Fox News. All right, so it's about to happen. When we get off of here, probably stuff is going to be going boom. I don't think it's too much of an if at this point. It's just a matter of when. Not good. Not good. I'm trying to see if I can find a time. I don't see a time yet in terms of what time the national security or what time he is due to get in. Then this is out. Charlie Kirk. A flood of cars raced to evacuate Iran after President Trump's warning. Look at that. Look at the traffic of people trying to get out of Tehran. Look at that. Look at all those cars. People are like, I'm out of here. Miles and miles and miles of cars hoping to get out of Tehran. The people know what's coming. They know it's coming. This lady here, very interesting, something Robin said to me. She goes, my friend in Iran just messaged me. He said 9 million people can't flee. They aren't prepared. He said no one worked today and the silence was deafening. That's what I'm just so terrified of. People who, where are you supposed to go? How are you supposed to evacuate an entire city in a matter of minutes? Imagine wherever you're sitting right now, President Trump comes on here and goes, get out. What do you mean, get out? Get out immediately. What would the highways and roads be around where you live if all of a sudden that notice went out? How are these people supposed to evacuate? How are these people supposed to do anything but sit there and be in the line of fire? Charlie Kirk followed that up with something else, which I think is very, very important, because the news and people were mentioning Charlie Kirk as one of the influencers, but he then just posted this. Moments like this, I have full and complete trust in President Trump. Period. That is the entirety of the tweet. I have full trust in President Trump. I may doubt why, I may have a problem with it. I don't like the idea of going to war. I don't like the idea of innocent people dying. But at the end of the story, I trust what President Trump is doing. That's what I think all of us have to basically take heed in at this point. Is this the man we all voted for? And like it or not, we're going to have to accept the decisions that are being made. And they're being made very, very quickly. I mean, I'm sure SV and Ashley are going to be hitting me up with everything that comes out, but first thing I want to know is when President Trump leaves Canada. When's he get on Air Force One to get out of there? Because that will probably be one of the indicators early that something's about to happen. Yes, I trust. Israel sent flyers to Tehran telling them to evacuate by a certain time, or it said you will die. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That is absolutely crazy. Man, this is crazy. Yeah, Landslide said, yes, I voted for this. Yes, I'm supporting POTUS. Yeah, I guess at this point, we have to, that's your decision you have to make. Is who are you supporting? You're supporting the president that you voted for. And whether or not you like what's about to happen, because it's about to happen. Yeah, I mean, at this point, you have to just suck it up and go, they're about to just drop bombs on these people. Wow, it's crazy. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do. Pray that this thing doesn't just go crazy. I think Trump is being played. Well, then you're saying you doubt Trump. Who would be playing him? But you are entitled to your opinion. When Trump gave that warning, it also told Iran, you have hours left to move whatever it is they want to hide from the United States. I trust my president, Donald Trump. I think that's what a lot of people need to come out and say. I think we need to understand this is the man you voted for, and if this is who you voted for, he's driving the boat. Let's see. Debbie says President Pete Hegseth has deployed additional capabilities to the Middle East. These deployments are intended to enhance our defensive posture in the region. Yeah, I understand, Peggy. Not for war. Yes, I understand that. It's interesting that Raptorman says this. Bunker buster, baby. From what we've been told, whether it's true or not, they're the only people who can reach the depths of their nuclear facility is us. The Israelis don't have a bomb big enough to bust up the bunker down below. They need our bomb to get down 180 feet. Maybe that's what we're waiting for. Don't know. I can't tell you. Kayla says, I absolutely voted for this. Trump was chosen by God to liberate his people. Iran was once a Christian nation and will be again in Jesus' name. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to continue, and we'll look for everyone to update me. Now I'll keep you guys update. Hold on a second. Wrong, Barry. When Trump says we are bombing them, I will listen. Not to you or anyone. Not X. Not a podcaster. Huh? Dude, did I said it. Walks like a duck, sounds like a duck. It probably is going to be a duck. I don't have my finger on the button, but the fact that the president is coming back to the Situation Room, the fact that we have bombers and planes and aircraft carriers going over into the theater, the fact that all this stuff is happening, get out of Tehran, I'm pretty sure it would be a reasonable assumption to think something's about to happen. I'm not telling you it is, but we'll see about midnight or so what exactly happens. I just can't. I'm not going to get myself upset tonight. All right, let's switch gears and talk about what's going on in Minnesota, because here's another crazy story.
Belter then traveled to Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, in the home of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman. At approximately 3:30 a.m., Belter arrived at Representative Hortman's house in his black SUV with the police license plates. He parked in the driveway and left the emergency lights on his SUV flashing as if he was a police officer. Belter approached Representative Hortman's home, again dressed as a police officer, wearing the tactical vest and body armor, and wearing that hyper-realistic mask. He was armed and carrying a flashlight. Before he entered the home, 2 Brooklyn Park police officers arrived at the scene. They too had been dispatched to check on Representative Hortman after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman. When they arrived at the scene, they saw Belter's black SUV parked in the driveway with the emergency lights flashing, and they saw Belter standing in front of the house several feet from the door. When Belter saw the officers get out of the car, he drew his weapon and began firing. He rushed into the house through the front door, firing into it. He repeated.
Okay, so this is the first time we're getting these details, and Somebody just called me a neocon. It was probably the first time I've ever been called a neocon, but whatever. All right, so the police arrive. They see this guy with his fake police car at the door. He turns around and fires on them. And then after he fires on them, he goes into the house. Hell-bent nonetheless on taking these people out. Yeah, that's beyond me. At this point, you're being confronted with the police. You wouldn't want to, like, get out of there? But anyway, that's what he did.
He fired into the house. And when he entered, he murdered Representative Hortman and her husband, Mark. The Brooklyn Park police officers fired at Belter as he rushed into the home, but he escaped into the home and out the back. Officers recovered Belter's 9mm Beretta, along with the body armor and the mask, behind the home along his path of flight when he fled on foot. They later searched Belter's car.
Okay, I got to back up because he kind of yada through something. And I'm sure, I don't know if Maximus is here, but I had one of my law enforcement buddies and said, okay, wait a second. This guy's 6'1", 240, 50 pounds, kind of out of shape. He goes into the house, runs through the house, goes out the back door, and they couldn't catch him? I mean, how far could he have gotten? To just disappear? I mean, I'm thinking of the movie The Fugitive with Tommy Lee Jones. Y'all needed to search every outhouse, hen house, dog house. I'm just thinking of, putting a dragnet around. Okay, the average man can run this fast. Okay, this dude's a little bit heavier. He can't go as far as... And you couldn't catch him? He's firing on you? I'm sure you radioed right away, backup, right? And so the backup comes, here I'm at such and such address. Nobody's like running through the neighborhood or going through the backyards? The street behind their house? This guy, completely, I would have to say somewhat inexperienced, if he was inexperienced, if it was him, somehow went into the house, found the people if they weren't at the front door, took them out, and then ran out the back door and just disappeared. I watched a lot of cop shows. Maybe I'm too used to cops. Like, you got the back, I got the back. All right. And a guy runs around the alley or something. This guy just disappeared. And we're supposed to believe this.
Where they found 5 more firearms, including assault-style rifles and a large quantity of ammunition. Belter also had in his car notebooks containing a list of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal elected officials, including Representative Portman. Now, Belter planned his attack carefully. He researched his victims and their families. He used the internet and other tools to find their addresses and names, the names of their family members. He conducted surveillance of their homes and took notes about the location of their homes. He also prepared in other ways. He concealed himself as a police officer, outfitting his black SUV with police lights and a police license plate, wearing a black tactical vest and body armor, carrying a police flashlight and a handgun. And of course he wore that hyper-realistic silicone mask as seen on the surveillance videos.
So if you guys saw the surveillance video, it's a bad angle, it's a Ring doorbell, but did he look like a 6 foot, 230 or 40 pound guy in that latex mask? Not to me. And if it doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes any sense.
The video of his arrival and shooting of Senator Hoffman is truly chilling. Again, it's no exaggeration to say this is the stuff of nightmares.
So that's what you have for the people in Minnesota, huh? It's the stuff of nightmares. Yeah, he just put on a latex mask and was able to run around the neighborhood take out these people in their home, and then somehow one of the things he didn't prepare for, because you see his video, he wasn't like the most in shape guy. How the hell did he run away? You would think when people pull up and find out it's a double homicide that somehow a dragnet goes around this house and they're looking for anybody walking at 3 o'clock in the morning. Remember, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. So what did he sleep inside a drain pipe or something? And you guys didn't find it? I'm sorry, this doesn't make sense. Now listen to what, Tampon Tim has to say here.
A moment in this country where we watched violence erupt. This cannot be the norm. It cannot be the way that we deal with our political differences. Now's the time for us to recommit to the core values of this country. And each and every one of us can do it. Talk to a neighbor rather than arguing. Debate an issue. Shake hands. Find common ground. This is who Melissa Hortman was. In the first negotiating session that I had a chance to work with her, she got all the partners in the room, and she provided each and every one of us a copy of a book called Getting to Yes. And the whole premise was debating with a sense of goodwill, a sense of trying to come to compromises that serve everyone. And because of her, we did that. Because of her, we did that year after year after year. That's the embodiment of how things are supposed to work. It's not about hatred. It's not about mean tweets. It's not about demeaning someone.
Okay. Huh? Does this guy not have tapes of his speeches? I'm going to show you a couple of things. These people immediately pivoted to it's Trump's fault. We need Trump to pull down the rhetoric. I have seen Tampon Tim's recent speeches. Doesn't take any accountability. Personal accountability is not a character attribute for Democrats. They just hope you don't remember, a couple weeks ago, last week, what I said. It's Trump.
With grace and compassion and vision and compromise and decency. That was taken from us in Minnesota with the murder of Speaker Hortman. So for each and every one of us to truly honor, and we will continue to honor that spirit, but we will need to do it in just more than actions in a memorial. Conducting ourselves in the spirit that Melissa Hortman did her work is what the country needs to heal.
Meanwhile, there was a state representative, Democratic leader of the state legislature in Minnesota killed over the weekend, a state senator shot. How would you describe the current political atmosphere in this country this morning?
I feel like Trump has really popped the...
We need to make sure we tone down the rhetoric. We need to make sure that civility reigns supreme, that we all can talk to each other and come to, no mean tweets. No, we're just going to talk, right? They can't. They can't. There is no civility with Democrats.
Lid off the rhetoric and the sense of hate and violence and promoted this type of an environment. It's profoundly disturbing for all of us. We have seen increased threats across the country. You're probably familiar with the pizza threats. We've seen more of that where pizzas or other food is delivered to people's families that they haven't ordered. Just to say from the right wing, we know who you are, we know where you live. I can tell you all of it.
It's the right wing pizza delivery. Okay, you see what I mean? I don't mean to call these people out the way I'm calling them out, but somebody has to. They're nuts. They immediately, not even didn't take a deep breath. Trump, right wing, all you guys, it's your fault. All you. We don't do anything. We haven't called anybody Nazis or fascist or, Gestapo. Not us. It hasn't been us. Again, I've said this many times. They hope you don't have copies of past tapes, past speeches, past appearances. They hope you don't have them today even.
Our families feel a greatly heightened sense. And just let me just say, my heart goes out to the families in Minnesota. How horrific for the whole country, but in particularly we're holding the folks in Minnesota in our hearts.
Yeah, no place in this country for political violence of any kind.
Does seem to have skyrocketed. What do you think it would take to de-escalate, to get, whether it's politicians or media outlets that benefit from the escalation, from increasing conflict, to cool the temperatures?
Now, before he answers, what do you think would be a good, reasonable response? Well, to me, if you're talking to the former governor of New York, I would say it's time for us to reach across the aisle. At this point, I think we need to put our differences aside and do what's best for America. We may not agree. I may not like what he has to say. I may not like what different Republicans are doing. But in the interest of making America safe, we need to show that we have decorum and reach across the aisle. Nope. Not what he says.
It's a powerful question. I think the first thing we have to think about, quick context. I mean, this is very troubling, but if you compare it to the USA in 1968, when we had assassinations of some of the most important figures in our society, and we had constant conflict and violence in cities all over the country, we're in a bad place, but we've been to a much worse place, and I think it's important to keep that in mind. I think the first thing we need to do is have our leaders take the temperature down. We're not expecting to see that from President Trump. Unfortunately, he has more than...
I know they have to do it because their listeners and viewers can't even fathom that there would be some sort of peace. It is against the ideology of the Democrat Party for there to be a toning down and let's reach across the aisle. Nope. You're a Nazi, you're a fascist, you're Gestapo, brown shirt, all of it. You don't care about women, you don't care about the others, purple and green hair. They don't care about anything. We cannot talk to them. They must be eliminated. But they're the ones, you and me, we're the ones who have to tone it down now, us right-wingers.
Anyone given the permission structure for this reality. And even what we've seen in the last week in Los Angeles, sparked by a kind of state violence, by ICE being extremely aggressive in their approach to immigration enforcement, that created a response from protesters.
How the hell did ICE have anything to do with this guy blowing away 2 people in Minnesota? Oh, let's go ahead and slide that in. And also, again, like I said earlier today, how is it that ICE is making people act a fool? You're going to hear me say a term a lot, I guess, over the next couple of months, and it's called personal accountability. We're taught as kids, hey, if Johnny jumps off a bridge, are you going to jump off a bridge? No, it's up to you. It's on you. Period. I don't care how pissed you are at ICE. I don't care how pissed you are at Trump. There's nobody who's making you go out there and riot. But they're trying to make it as if there is a reason. Oh, Trump's fault. Because these ICE people are doing it. No, you're doing it because you want to do it. Period.
To them peaceful, and then of course we saw some who were not peaceful, and I want to emphasize that's not acceptable. Protesters being violent is not acceptable either, but there's a cycle here of the most important leadership in the country, both in the words he uses and the actions he's authorizing, creating an environment that's becoming more violent, more conflictual. I don't expect him to change. I do think we can call upon people in the Republican Party to start finding their consciences and take the temperature down in a meaningful way.
Like you just did. They can't even get through full sentences. One of the things that people need to be calling out is indeed personal accountability. We have let them completely get away with everything. Where everything that happens bad to them is because somebody else caused it. Yeah, I had to shoot this person because he made me mad. He disrespected me. I had an inclination to do this with a little kid. But it's man-boy love. Hey, we should be able to do what we want. If we want to do dance and play in a girl sport, that's not our fault. That's how we are made. Every single thing that they stand for is based upon not being able to control anything, even so much as an urge. No one wants to talk about that, because what we're describing is insanity. If you cannot control an urge, if you feel that you are not accountable for anything, if you don't understand the ramifications of your actions, and that there are ramifications for your actions, you are a psychopath. Many of you have probably seen the video by now of the people trying to stop a car, and the lady falls because the car wouldn't stop, and she gets run over and probably breaks her leg. And they're blaming the car driver instead of them being in front of a car. I even saw one where they're trying to stop a truck. Let that sink in. There's 4 or 5 people in front of a truck, and they think that they can stop a truck with hundreds of horsepower. Somehow their little limp bodies are going to stop a truck from going forward. But when they get run over, oh my God, look what they did to them. No, you did it. Seriously, as you're traversing the internet, just notice how many things you will see where they say, somebody else did it to me. I didn't do it. It was done to me. All I could do is react. I had to go out and do this. There is no catalyst. There's nothing in their brain that says, you know what, maybe this is wrong. Maybe I shouldn't act this way because it's wrong. You and I do. We stop at red lights. If it weren't for us that, had a mind that when we saw a red light, it meant, okay, stop. Remember, you're looking at nothing but a colored light in the sky, and you have been taught it is not safe, nor should I drive through this red light. These people face red lights every single day, and they don't even realize it. Hey, let me see if I can stop this 2,000-pound automobile because I don't like where it's going. And I'm going to get run over and oh my God, break their windows. No, it's your fault. Not their fault. You being stupid. You having no personal accountability. Drives me crazy. All right, so I'm on a tight time frame here, so I'm going to have to do the Rumble jump over real soon here because I have an amazing documentary I want you to see. But I just wanted to cover these 2 more pieces. They're like 1 and 2 minutes before we jump. All right. You remember the manifesto that the guy was supposed to have?
That came from initially.
Can you identify the potential motive here? It has been widely reported that the hit list, contained names of people who are abortion rights supporters. And also, can you please release the names of 2 other targeted victims who were fortunately get away?
As I said, with respect to the other 2 potential victims, I think it's up to them whether they want to publicly identify themselves. As I said, it wouldn't surprise me if they do. They're elected officials, but that's their right. Obviously, they may have families and children and privacy interests that they need to sort through. So I'll let them do that. With respect to the potential motive, let me say this. There's been a lot of press coverage and speculation and discussion of a manifesto. I've seen nothing like a Unabomber-style manifesto in his writings. He had many, many notebooks full of plans, lists of names, surveillance, efforts that he took to surveil and locate the home addresses and family members' relationships with these elected officials. But I have not seen anything involving some sort of political screed or manifesto that would clearly identify what motivated him. Obviously, his primary motive was to go out and murder people. Now, they were all elected officials. They were all Democrats. Beyond that, I think it's just way too speculative for anyone that's reviewed these materials to know and to say what was motivating him in terms of ideology or specific.
I'm still going to stay Switzerland here. But at some point, I don't know, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, you need to address these inconsistencies that continue to happen. Oh, yeah, we got one. Oh, no, we don't have one. But yesterday you said you had one. And this guy's like, I don't know anything about it. They're either, but you're saying you have all this other stuff, which kind of amounts to me like a manifesto. You were at research, he did this, he did that, but you don't want to show any of it to us. Nothing. Kind of starting to be familiar, doesn't it? Then, after they charge him, we see this. Pambani says, we have filed federal charges for stalking and murder against Vance Bolter. If convicted, he will face severe and comprehensive justice for his horrific crimes. Okay, so she filed a federal charge against him. But like Gunther says here, and a couple other people, now what about Tim Walsh's involvement possible? You gonna look at that? Or are we just supposed to forget any of this ever happened and just move on? It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, so we do have an update on Israel. Retired Lieutenant Colonel warns Iranian missiles are overwhelming U.S. defense systems as the Iron Dome fails. Retired U.S. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis is sounding the alarm that Iranian ballistic missiles are successfully penetrating American defense systems in the region, including the Iron Dome and Patriot missile batteries. Davis warns that these supposedly advanced systems are failing to intercept most incoming threats, leaving U.S. troops in the Middle East dangerously exposed during the current escalation. Current U.S. military strength is already sufficient to protect global assets without launching a war, and escalation would place forces at unnecessary risk. His assessment suggests that despite billions invested in missile defense technology, Iranian capabilities have evolved faster than expected, raising serious questions about American defensive preparedness in the region. This warning comes as Trump cuts short his G7 trip to address the escalating Israel-Iran conflict from the White House Situation Room. Whew. That's some scary stuff. Definitely some scary stuff. All right, so I've got a hard line cut because I have to speak to Dr. Ephraim, and I got to show you this amazing documentary first. So if you guys want to begin getting over to Rumble, definitely do so. Let me go ahead and read any super chats that may be in here so we can begin to jump over so I can do this as quickly as possible because we have a hard stop. This is crazy, absolutely crazy stuff going on. What do we got here? All right, let me put this up. And where's number 47? Number 47 would be this one. Move this over, and let's do this. Jay in Vegas, Trump American Dream Act will bury the Dems. Barry, you can be the catalyst to make it go viral. I will be looking that up. Starfleet Tech 1701999. Oh, 99, thank you. This sounds like the fulfillment of Jeremiah 49:35-37, where Iran is destroyed by an unnamed country. In the scriptures, Iran is called by the old name Elam. Trisha, bless Israel. America will be blessed God's word. Myra Favela, wasn't JFK assassinated because he wanted to stop Israel from having nuclear weapons? Wasn't Israel involved? I don't know, but we need to be careful. I agree. Maria, again, Bibi Netanyahu has led us into stupid situations. Gadget Angel, Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb. Read Thomas Sowell's book. You must concur a culture, but make permanent damage. We did it with Japan. If you're against forever wars, being an isolationist will not solve this problem. I agree. And I'm not a neocon. Jones, very large Christian movement happening in Iran. Ex-Muslim sparks Christian revival in Iran. Fastest growth in the world. There's hope. Tilly, I trust President Trump with all my heart and soul. Me too. Just another knucklehead. I mute Tampon Tim. I don't care what he ever has to say. George Rivera, in all fairness to the officers, they had victims and needed to search for more. They had already received fire and had to search for him behind every wall and tree where he might be lying in wait. Good point. Good point. I'll take that as a good point. Alan Cook, United States in the Bible, Genesis 48 and 49, under the name Manasseh, the 10 lost tribe of Israel. One of Joseph's sons take care of the name Israel. And Steve Hale, keep up the good work, Barry. You're the best. Thank you very much. So I'm going to be jumping over very shortly. I'm on a tight time frame because of who's going to be on here. So let me go, and we're just going to jump right now. Get over there. You won't want to miss this.